Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc and Kim. Every Wednesday, Marc and Kim, along with their special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc and Kim will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience, and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc and Kim are tested, certified, and professional spiritual mediums, metaphysical teachers, healers, and spiritual advisors with their own individual spiritual practices in Seattle, Washington, and Los Angeles, California. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
And good afternoon, inspired listeners. Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc and Kim. It's so great to have everybody here today with us, as always, on Wisdom Wednesdays. And today we have an exciting shift or change that happened within the last 24 hours. Our schedule has switched around, and Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is going to be leading our show today on the topic of awareness and the importance of awareness in our daily lives. And so how great is that Marc is our guest. We get to ask him all kinds of questions. I'll be here too, chiming in from time to time, but Marc is definitely going to be the one sharing his experience, his knowledge with us today, and all the great work that he's doing up in the Seattle area and actually all around the world. So Marc Lainhart, my co-host, and the one who puts a smile on my face every day and every week, welcome to your show.
Hi, Kim. Hi, inspired listeners. Yes, it's the changes are definitely rolling with Mercury retrograde. For the inspired listeners out there, the last 2 weeks, if Mercury retrograde has been kicking your butt, Kim and I fully understand. And like Kim was saying, we had a scheduling change within 24 hours. So we're like, well, what do we want to do? And I thought, I've been teaching all of the month of September over on the OMTimes expert platform at learnitlive.com, all about awareness, awareness of, movement awareness, mental awareness, spiritual signs, symbols, and synchronicities. And so sometimes you just got to roll with it, right, Kim? Sometimes you just got to go with the shift and, as we say in spirituality, and so it is. And so it is. So here we are today, and I'm going to lead us in some knowledge that I've come across in my spiritual journey and share some of my spiritual tools with you to help you on your spiritual path. But before we get into that, Kim, let's talk a little bit about you and where can people find out about the wonderful work that you are doing down in California and the wonderful work you are doing around the world as well.
Yes, so I am, of course, the founder of Love First, where all kinds of beautiful transformations happen in Encino, California. And if you are interested in or just need a little support in life through readings, healings, hypnotherapy, spiritual development, I would love to work with you. I channel guidance from your soul, from your angels and your guidance, and bring in important messages for you to hear about where you're at this point in your life, as well as to bring in greater understanding around life events and relationships around you as well. I also do quite a bit of energy healing work, and if you're looking to shift your energy and therefore shift your life, I would love to work with you in that way as well. Perhaps you are looking to tap into your highest potential using the power of your mind through hypnotherapy. That is also a very profound way to bring in change to your life and to your life experiences. So, and perhaps maybe you're looking to just advance your own spiritual development and awareness. Aha, there's that key word today, awareness. I'd be happy to support you in that way as well. I absolutely love the work that I do. I left the corporate world to pursue my life's purpose, which is this, and I would be honored to work with you. You can find me at lovefirst.info. That's lovefirst.info. You can also interact with us all over social media under Facebook at Inspired Living Radio, Twitter and Instagram under Inspired for Us, Google Plus under Inspired Living with Marc and Kim. You can send us your questions if you'd like to. You can ask questions. You can suggest topics that you'd like for us to bring live to air. We would love to do that. We just really all around like to get to know the listeners in our community. We're so happy you've been on this journey with us. You can also now call in live to the show and ask your questions either of our guests or Marc and myself. We'd be happy to talk you through the questions that you might have on any Wednesday and including today. The number here is 202-570-7057. And as you know, you can also find us by podcast as well. So all of our live shows move to an on-demand format where you can listen to us at any time in any place. And you can find all of our archives on OMTimes Radio, Podbean, SoundCloud, MarcLainhart.com, and YouTube and iTunes. Lastly, every month we have an inspired affirmation. And for the month of September, it's my obstacles are moving out of my way. My path is carved towards greatness. I love it. And you can achieve greatness through an increase in awareness. That all goes together, actually,
nice.
Now that I think about it. Yes.
That's a great segue.
That's right. So without further delay, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here talking to us about the importance of awareness and achieving greatness every day in your life. Marc.
Yeah, exactly. And who doesn't want to achieve greatness in their life? Who doesn't want to find peace in their life? Real quick, Kim, because this is usually where we start wrapping up our, commentary and allow our guests to, get in on the show. And there's a live Facebook feed that I just posted out over on Inspired Living Radio if you want to check that out, talking about awareness. And also, like Kim said, the number that you can call in. We're taking calls now through OMTimes Radio. What I love about the radio, the station that we're a part of, is, like Kim said, you can call in now. You can call from anywhere in the world, and you can call on any device. There's no password, registration, no username. You don't need to jump through all those hoops. And you can talk directly to Kim or myself and all of our special guests that we're going to be having come up this fall. And we're already scheduled out until December, right, Kim? So we're going to have some pretty awesome guests on. I'm looking forward to that. But the awareness workshop that I'm teaching over on learnitlive.com after the radio show is another way to interact with me in practice. See some of the slides, and it's all video-based, so it's another – you get to hear me on the radio right now, but then it's another way to interact, and it's a free webinar for the month of September that I'm doing. But I want to talk about awareness today because I think awareness is one of the most important things that unlocks your spiritual pathway. There's a quote from Carl Rogers that really stands out to me, and it's based on self-awareness. And becoming a person means that the individual moves toward being knowingly and acceptingly the process which he or she inwardly and actually is. I'll say that again because it's pretty deep. Self-awareness by Carl Rogers is becoming a person. Becoming a person means the individual moves toward being knowingly and acceptantly the process which she or he inwardly and actively actually is. And the process of awareness is different for everybody. Kim, you talked about in the intro you leaving the corporate world, and I'm just kind of curious to your awareness of what triggered that, because not everybody wants to leave the corporate world in a nice, secure paycheck. I just personally moved to a part-time role myself and took a leap of faith after making a choice to start doing more of the spiritual work and the webinars and the radio show. And that's not always easy, but I'm just curious just to get your thoughts, Kim. What opened that up for you? What was the awareness that you first had when you decided to leave the corporate world and that steady paycheck? Because that's not an easy thing to do.
No, it is not, especially when you're stepping into the unknown. It's actually quite scary, isn't it? I mean, anytime we go through change or anticipated change, it is not comfortable. And this was, this is kind of interesting as I'm talking, because awareness sometimes doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. Sometimes your awareness will, what it is you need to know will happen right away. But a lot of times it's not. It's a process where you get little bits and pieces of information as you're moving down your path. And so for me, my intuitive awareness opened up years before I actually left the corporate world. So I didn't even know how I was going to be using my psychic or mediumship abilities, but they were there, and I knew that it brought me happiness. And so it was something that was a part of my life, but I didn't know I was going to be leaving the world that I knew for 15 years to pursue that. Right. But what had happened was the corporate world began to become a very uncomfortable place for me to be. It wasn't in alignment with who I was then. It's not in alignment with who I am now. And so we'll continue this conversation in 2 minutes as we head into break here. But stay with us as we continue our conversation on the importance of awareness and the life changes that it can bring in.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Have you been searching for a perspective beyond the mainstream? Check it out. Join your hosts Cielito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share International Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us at shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for.
Are you seeking answers to life questions? Would you like to connect to a departed loved one? Are you suffering from pain, stress, or anxiety? Kimberly Thalkin is a tested, certified, and professional psychic, spiritual medium, energy healer, hypnotherapist, and the founder of Love First, where life transformations happen. Love First services support, guide, and empower individuals by connecting them to their highest potential to live a healthier, joyful, and meaningful life that's filled with purpose. All services can be done by phone, Skype, or in person in Encino, California. Please visit lovefirst.info. That's LOVEFIRST.info for more information.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
And welcome back
Welcome
to
back.
Inspired Living.
Let's do a joint intro. Welcome back, because it's just you and I today during Mercury retrograde.
There you go. So Marc, before we went to break, we were just talking about how I used awareness to make the leap from the corporate world to the work that I'm doing today, which is living my life's purpose, or living purposefully. So anyways, as I was saying, a lot of times awareness is a process, and you get bits and pieces of information along the way, or a level of understanding of circumstances as you move down your path. And then it kind of forms a bigger message until you get to the point where the message is the corporate world is no longer where you belong. But that was over the course of, probably 7 or 8 years. So, and the way that I knew that was just that the doors were shutting on me in places and situations where they should not have been. And I started dabbling in this work, and this work was really what brought me happiness. And so it became clearer and clearer to me that I should go down the path of happiness, right? Why do we want to go down any other path? And so that is the awareness that settled in with me that helped me to make the choice of the work that I'm doing full time today. But again, that was a culmination of bits and pieces of information, emotions around that information, how I felt about certain things, and taking note of that over the course of many years.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to note that it didn't happen overnight, and a lot of us that are on this spiritual journey want it to happen overnight, right? The ego kicks in and says, I want this now. I want to have, I want that freedom. I want that happiness and that peace. And so for you, it was an 8-year journey, or give or take a year, and you're doing what you love. And I think that's very commendable, and it's very courageous as well. And I always tell people, when you make that choice and you start to have awareness, and we'll talk about some of the things that awareness starts creeping in, and the things that no longer fit, the things that no longer serve you, kind of like what you were saying, Kim, that the doors were closing and the doors were not opening. And, sometimes it takes a couple of times of us running into the door to go, oh, okay, I guess that door is not going to open, so I need to find another way through, another way around, another way under, another way over. And one of the, actually, while you were talking, Kim, one of the quotes that jumped out to me, I love the quote from Steve Jobs that talks about remembering that you're going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. And that's what Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple Computers, talked about, follow your heart. And it's fair to say that you're doing that now, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that, that comes with awareness too, is when you see that, you see how you're being supported, and things become, they fall into place. When you're living in alignment with who you are through your awareness, then things, you feel supported along the way. And the right people are brought into your life, the circumstances are brought in, you feel supported. But it's only through that awareness and kind of connecting the dots that you're able to see that. So I always believe that it's really important to stay close to your feelings around things, how it is you feel about different scenarios, situations, experiences, relationships, whatever it is that is happening in your life. It's very close. It's very important to stay close to how you feel about things. And when you do that, you'll notice that your awareness will start to build of, what's right for you, what's maybe not so right for you, what was once right for you, but may not be right for you anymore. And that'll come through awareness, but you have to stay close to how it is you feel along the way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you make an important note on that as far as feeling. That's something that tends to be very easy for women and not so easy for men. And so I'm given the guy's perspective, because if a guy has, if he's feeling, then that can be, in society, that can be embraced as, labeled as a weakness, or he's too, feeling insensitive. And I actually disagree with those labels. I don't think you should put a label on that. I think in order to really awaken to who you are and follow your heart, like Steve Jobs is talking about, knowing that you are going to die someday, feeling is a big part of your awareness and opening and awakening to not only yourself, the self-awareness that's within, but the world around you. You start to see the world with different eyes. And some of the things I'm going to be talking about today, Kim, is deprogramming what we currently have wired in our brains. And, this comes through, many different modalities, from meditation to Qigong to even just breathing, is a good way to start rewiring your brain so the awareness starts to open up and your awakening starts to unfold for you. So today I just kind of threw some things together because, again, we weren't planning on doing an awareness show. We had someone else scheduled. But, with Mercury retrograde, sometimes, being aware to that, Kim and I have been doing this Inspired Living Radio now for well over a year. We know when Mercury retrograde comes up that we run into these types of issues, and we know that sometimes the connectivity or technology aspects of doing the radio show could be impacted by Mercury retrograde. But we find ways to work around it, and that's what I love about doing the show. And I would say, Kim, awareness of both of our paths brought us together to start doing this radio show. We actually started our journey on a different radio show on a different network, and we decided to bring Inspired Living Radio to OMTimes to, inspire people and help people and teach people. So it's kind of fun that we're teaching today. And Kim's going to be doing her own class coming soon. We're not sure on the date yet, but be interesting to see what Kim's going to be teaching about. Maybe something on the subject of love.
My favorite subject.
Yeah, I know. But I wanted to talk about awareness because for me, the journey has been 6 years in the making, Kim. When I actually started to go down this path, the very day that I accepted a job working for the federal government, I got accepted into a mentorship program with a very famous psychic medium. And I thought, okay, I'm going to start, doing readings and have a book and a television show and a lot of the ego body, right? A lot of the thinking, this was going to happen overnight, and didn't even see myself doing radio. And here we are 6 years later. So kind of that same path that you talked about, Kim, of the corporate world no longer fitting you. And now I just work part-time for the same job that I've had for the last 6 years, but I'm now doing more for my spiritual practice. And that actually started with awareness and awakening and actually taking action. Now, having awareness and taking the action are two different things. If you have awareness, it's kind of like if you have a thought in your head, but it just stays in your head, then it's just daydreaming. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't make a change in your life. And awareness is the same way. You actually have to take chances. You have to trust, and that's another big part of it. Kim talked about feeling what's right. Feeling is, your body has many different receptors, the solar plexus chakra and the heart chakra, which is all about love and connecting the physical to the spiritual world, are two areas that you should really start to develop and trust your senses, because, again, it's a lot about trust and it's a lot about feeling, how to make the right choice, to be around the right person, to take the right career, to be in the right love life. It's trusting your internal chakras that we would call the solar plexus or the heart chakra, just to name a few. There's a bunch. I'm not going to spend that. It could be a whole nother workshop that we could teach on, Kim. But it's feeling those, trusting those, and then going within. And so what I like to say is when it comes to awareness, it's awareness and wisdom. The favorite question of awareness is the question why. I always say that life is short, question everything. Whys make you aware, and awareness makes you wise. You like that? Whys make you aware. Awareness makes you wise. So it creates a frame for all of your whats, your whens, your whos, your hows. And if you think about the power of why, it does create change. When you ask questions, questions can create controversy. They can create chaos. One thing that comes to mind, Kim, right now, currently in the social environments of culture is the Colin Kaepernick football player that's refusing to stand for the national anthem. And so, on both sides of the house, there's a lot of controversy, but what it's doing is creating a conversation. It's creating dialogue between people, and it's through that change occurs. If we don't ask questions, if we, regardless of what your stance is on standing for the national anthem, kneeling for the national anthem, the respect, disrespect, the rights to free speech, what it is doing, if you take that 30,000-foot perspective, it's creating conversation amongst people that never had that conversation. That's just a current, real world situation that's going on right now. And the conversation is, bringing about change, putting things on the radar. So why is one of awareness's favorite questions? And so again, when you start on your own spiritual pathway, ask the question why, because what it's going to open, it's going to create the frame for your what's, your when's, your where's, your who's, and your how's. And what it's going to do, it's going to, give you that will to find out the why. And that's very strong. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if your why excites you, your will find a how. And if your why is clear and it excites you, you will solve any what, trust every when, meet all the right who's, and find all the right where's, and overcome any challenging how. So that is, the first step of awareness and wisdom. I like to say, Kim, that, we can lead humans to knowledge, but we can't make them think. The power lies within ourselves, the power of free will, the power of choice, personal responsibility. But I always say it always opens up with awareness and just wanting something different, something better for your life in the search of, truth, happiness, peace. And, Kim, so there's the sound of the music. So being that I'm not only the guest and the co-host, I'll take us into our second break. If you want to call in, you can call in to area code 202-570-7057. Ask a question about awareness. Tell us a story about awareness. We'd love to hear from you. So we'll be back in 2 minutes here on Inspired Living with Marc and Kim on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
And welcome back to Inspired Living with Marc and Kim on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness, as we talk to our special guest and co-host at the same time, Marc Lainhart, today on the topic of awareness and the importance of awareness in our daily lives. You know, Marc, you had said something earlier about having the awareness, but it's up to you what you want to do with it when you have it. Yep. And that's a very important point that you made there, because we all have free will. So, we have the information that we need. What happens when we have the information that we need to make the best choices for ourselves? What do we do with that? Do we make the best choices for ourselves, or do we continue down the same path until it gets more and more and more uncomfortable to a place where we can't sustain that uncomfortability any longer? Then we make the right choice. But we may have had that awareness all along. It's just we didn't have whatever it was within us, the strength or the courage or whatever it was that was holding us back from making that right choice, because we all have free will. So we don't have to do anything with that information if we don't want to. And it reminds me of this reading that I did a while back, Marc. There's a gentleman who was he was having an extramarital affair. And I said, well, you want to know about this scenario, what happens if I stay, in my marriage and continue to see my girlfriend? And I said, well, the same lack of peace that you have right now, because there's all kinds of uncertainty around things. You're not living in truth, and there's concern around that. So it's causing you a lack of peace. Well, that same lack of peace will continue to happen. You'll continue to experience it if you choose to stay on the same path that you're on. Exactly. But, of course, it's your choice, whatever you'd like to do. And he said, well, I think I'm just going to stay on this same path and see how long I can stay on this path for. So,
and again, there's that choice and that free will and that personal responsibility to do so. What happens?
So there you have it.
What happens too is a lot of that is ego driven. A lot of that is, when we, are doing something and it doesn't bring us peace and joy and happiness, but yet we continue to do that. And that could be a job, that could be a relationship. What happens is that's living through the ego body. And when your awareness, when you start to trust and start to feel the awareness within, and the sage within, I guess would be the right thing, and you start to follow that pathway, you start to shift from, what I call the ego body into the observer body. And what happens is you end up having a wrestling match where the ego body doesn't want to allow the observer body, and the observer body, wants to, get in there and not live so much from the ego mindset. And, it's very fascinating. It's for anybody that's ever done meditation. I'll be talking about meditation here as part of the awareness, but it's like that, when you first sit back and do meditation, I'm sure you've had this happen as well, Kim. You sit back and you try to get to a place of just stillness and quietness, and the body will actually start twitching. The mind will jump in and actually start wanting to take you out of this stillness and quietness. And that's the observer body wrestling with the ego body. It's at that point where you're twitching or you feel yourself, jerk a little bit. That's actually, an actual felt physical reaction of your ego wrestling with the observer. Because what happens is, one of the things that I teach when I'm doing the awareness workshop, whether, today's show or teaching on the webinar, and I'll be talking about this over on learnitlive.com, where it's a video webinar with me, is, awareness in your thoughts, because it's very important to start to master the mental aspect of this as well. You have choice, you have free will, you have personal responsibility, but don't believe everything that you think. I like to call what this is called the drunken monkey mind, of all these little monkeys running around in your head. And when you start to ask these questions, I was talking about, the whys make you aware and awareness makes you wise, and you're asking why, just like a child does. When a child, like a 5-year-old child, is trying to understand the world around them, what's one of the things that they, ask, Kim? Your daughter's probably doing this. Why? Because they're looking for that higher consciousness. They want to have a sense of understanding, be able to analyze and rationalize the world around them. And so the power of a why is really what makes you wise to the awareness. And then what motivates you and where your reactions come from. So awareness is the sage within, guiding you back to your own wisdom, really. But as you ask these whys, your thoughts start to kick in. So what I like to teach is watch your thoughts. They do have a mind of their own, and they do not always tell you the truth. These drunken monkeys that are running around out of control, based on the whys or the situations at hand, the people around you, your job, they cause us to, think different pathways in different scenarios, or what I like to say, the what if world, or the what I didn't do. And your awareness is shut off. Your focus is shut off, and you're separated from that. So you want to get to a place that where your awareness brings you focus, it brings you clarity, it brings you peace, the ability to make wise choices. Spoken words become your actions. So again, your words are usually generated by thoughts, and then your actions become your spoken words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values will guide you to what I like to say, prospect as a spiritual prospector for the pathways of life, what's right for you: freedom, peace, joy, happiness. Kind of like what Kim was talking about, and very similar to what I was just talking about, because I just made this decision, Kim, to go part-time after 6 years of having a steady paycheck. It was not easy for myself, not easy for my family, my situation, but I had to trust the process and take a chance. And that's why it's called a leap of faith. If you make that choice, you take a chance, then you'll see the changes of your life unfold, and that's through awareness of your surroundings. And I can report now, doing this for 4 months part-time, spirit, universe, my guides, those on the other side, have all come through and helped me in tremendous ways, in ways I didn't even think possible. And I love it too, Kim. I love the freedom. I love the peace that it brings. I love being on the radio and talking with people and learning new subjects. And if it wouldn't have started with my awareness, I would not be here today talking on the radio, doing a webinar, writing a book, or doing readings with people all around the world. So I love this work. But again, watch your thoughts. The only way you can align your thoughts with your hopes and values is through awareness. Even awareness to your own thoughts is very important. Thoughts are to awareness as the sunflower is to the sun. One shines, the other follows. Again, I'll say that again. Thoughts are to awareness as the sunflower is to the sun. One shines, the other follows. So it's important to, I'm not saying ignore your thoughts, but just don't believe all of your thoughts. Don't believe them to be true and guide you down a path that you don't need to go. Awareness reminds you that you have thoughts and feelings. Again, there's that famous, I think, therefore I am, or now it's kind of switched a little bit. I think it's now I am, therefore I think. So we're having the paradigm shift of, we are spiritual, energetic beings here on a physical journey to understand the world around us and also to experience the world around us, because that's the best way to learn. I like to say that life is an acronym for learn it from experiences, not good, bad, happy, or sad, just is. Your mindset is how you react to the world around you is what's most important. So you want to start looking at the mental mastery of awareness as well. Again, your awareness reminds you that you have thoughts and feelings, but they don't define you. Awareness is a realization like a flower opening itself to the sun, as if to say, I'm here and I'm ready to shine. Your deepest awareness shines like the brightest sun through all the peaks and troughs of life. We all have them. Life is going to throw some crap your way, especially right now during Mercury retrograde. There's just a lot going on, and you're going to have hills. You're going to have valleys. You're going to have lows. You're going to have highs. It's just how you're going to respond to that. And mental mastery and awareness is very, very important to that. And as you align your inner awareness with your thoughts, your words, and your actions, you manifest your highest aspirations in the world. And not only are you changing within through awareness in that awakening process, but now you start to look at the world with different eyes. You start to feel the world around you in different ways. You start to react to people differently. And you start to send out a vibration. And for those that, follow The Secret or like attracts like, you start to send out a vibration like a pebble in a pond that ripples out, and what ripples out comes back. So, think about your thoughts and the power of thoughts, because they are very, very important. One of the other things I like to talk about, Eckhart Tolle, who, if you've read his book, and we're going to be going to break here in a couple minutes, but Eckhart Tolle comes to mind, and in his book, The Power of Now, if you've not read it, excellent book, very deep, he talks about awareness is the greatest agent for change, and that's from Eckhart Tolle. In awareness and action, so again, we talked about, awareness and wisdom, what the awareness is. And then we're talking about awareness in your thoughts. Again, don't believe everything that you think. Let's get into awareness and action. And let's talk about awareness as your first step to change, because the awareness creates the change environment that you want. What happens is a lot of people don't make that leap of faith, and then they wonder why they don't see the changes. Kind of like Kim, you were talking about with the gentleman not making a change. He's going to stay. He's going to stay on his path. He's going to stay status quo, and that's fine. That's no judgment. That's his pathway. But will he really truly find peace on that path that he's on?
You know what, though, Mark? That I was just thinking as you were talking, and as I was reflecting on that, that's a part of building awareness too, because the more you stay on a path that is uncomfortable, that brings in a lack of peace, that is a part of awareness too. That helps you build your own awareness that maybe that is not a path that works for you anymore. But with that said, we are heading into our final break already. Where's the time gone?
I know, right?
Stay with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes as we continue our conversation on awareness.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
There is no death, only a change of worlds. Chief Seattle. Deborah Livingston is an award-winning intuitive psychic medium whose international services include mediumship, spiritual assessment, animal communication, and spiritual mentoring. She is a published author and a trained shaman. Deborah provides evidential messages from spirit and departed loved ones. Learn more at deblivemedium.com. That's DEBLIV medium.com.
What's up? This is Brad and Mike from Lincoln Park for LifeBeat, the music industry fights AIDS.
Listen up, times are tough and you get a lot of things thrown your way. If you're being pressured to have sex and you're not ready, then say no. If you're having sex, be smart and use protection. Respect yourself and protect yourself.
For more information, call the National AIDS Hotline at 1-800-342-AIDS or log on to www.lifebeat.org.
Hey there, inspired listeners. Welcome back to Inspired Living Radio with Marc and Kim here on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness. I am your co-host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, but I'm also talking about, as a guest, awareness. And right when we cut to break, Kim, I was just talking about the action and taking the action on awareness, because awareness does come in steps. And again, be patient with yourself, because awareness it could be a 6-year process. It could be an 8-year process to, getting to where you want to go. And I think of, like a tree, a seed actually has to start. And in order to start, it actually has to, literally break itself apart from the inside out to spread its roots to where it finally becomes this majestic oak tree that, is just huge. And we're the same way. But we have to take action, because without awareness, we really flounder and drift through life. With awareness, we do start to gain clarity and direction, and awareness is really the first step to change, because it is a wake-up call that there is a problem. Change without awareness leads you to aim for the wrong targets, fight the wrong battles, attack the wrong enemy, and make rash and inauthentic decisions. And when I teach people all about being and living authentic, regardless of what other people say, because it's really none of your business what other people say or think about you. And that's living authentic. I'm not saying that's easy, because we all want to be liked. We all want to, have friends. But the awareness and going within is, it's taking action on that. And sometimes, Kim was talking earlier, when we start to, become aware and we take these actions, sometimes people don't like that, and they may move away from you. They may, it can be coworkers, family, friends. They don't like the changes that you're going through, and so they may back away. But I guarantee you, for every person that goes out of your life, you're going to get 2 more of like-mindedness. Your soul tribe, as I like to call it, will come into your life and lift you up, be part of that soul tribe, and push you to keep searching for your own spiritual gold. Action and passion are exciting, but to act passionately out of a deep awareness of why certain causes give you goosebumps and why change is essential is true mastery. With self-awareness, you learn to see your own part in the problem, where you can make a difference, and why you want to be involved. And again, that ego body, ego protects it. It's about wanting to be right, to get attention. And again, when you start to go within and that self-awareness, it really starts having a fight with the observer body, and because you want to see a difference, you want to start, seeing a better world around you, being in service to help other people. With self-awareness, you learn to see the possibilities and pitfalls of swimming in the ocean of life. But again, with awareness, it brings us clarity, it brings us direction, and I really do say that awareness brings us closer to the realization that everything that we need, we already have. And it was going back to that Steve Jobs quote talking about, there is no reason not to follow your heart. We can find all the reasons in the world. That's the ego. But when you really start awakening and following your true authentic self, you'll trust, you'll feel, and you'll be guided to go after the life that you dream and have always wanted. Emerson said that what lies behind you and what lies in front of you pales in comparison to what lies inside you. So trust that inner knowing, that inner God, that inner being, that genius, because awareness really does start to tap your genius. It's amazing. It's liberating. And again, what lies behind you is giving meaning to, where you came from doesn't mean that's where you currently are, and that you don't have to, think about where you're going in the future. It's about living presently as well. In a nutshell, either way, your life manifests from the inside out. So, I was thinking of one of the webinars I did previously, and I was talking, there was a quote from Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest hockey players of all time. And the genius that he was on the ice, they asked him, how were you such a great hockey player? And he said, I don't skate to where the puck is going to be. I skate to where it's going to be. And again, it's that intuition and that awareness of, seeing it maybe before it happens and trusting that it's going to be there, even though the puck's not there. He's skating to where it's going to be. And, obviously it worked out pretty well for him. Awareness brings you to the cusp of your own genius and leads you to be all that you can be. How powerful is that? So again, take action on your awareness. I think that's very important. Awareness and identity. Start asking the questions, who are you? I know it's a strange question to answer, but usually we think of something we do, something we did, or a way we like to be seen in the world. Alan Watts, had once said that trying to define yourself is trying to bite your own teeth. So, it's kind of, a funny quote, but really start with, getting the awareness of identity because it's going to help you on who you are. And an experience of being aware is being in the moment, presently living, getting out of your mind of what is in the past and what is happening or what's going to happen in the future, because, again, then you're distracted from your awareness. And awareness and the things that I do through meditation, through Qigong, movement exercises, it's all about being present in the living moment, because life is really about experiencing yourself in a relationship to all else beyond all the labels and judgments of society. This is your life. This is your journey. This is your pathway, and you choose what you want to have. Practicing awareness. So, I can't believe how fast this is going by. This show is going by, Kim. It's just cruising. But I want to finish off the show. And like I said, if you want more on awareness, join me over at learnitlive.com/soul adventures, or just do an internet search on the Intuitive Prospector or Marc Lainhart about the webinars, because I'm going to be doing another hour live video on awareness, and we're going to be practicing more awareness. But diving deeper into an experience of awareness, when you touch base with awareness, the part of you that sees everything as it arises without judging it, naming it, or putting it in a box, you are pulling back the layers to allow a greater peace. All it requires is a shift in your mindset. Instead of seeking inner peace, notice the moments that hit the spot, feel them deeply, and notice that there is a part of you that notices that. This is the essence of who you are, and has nothing to prove or fear. I like to say that fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. And also another acronym I like to use is FOMO, fear of missing out. We have a lot of fear of we're going to miss out on something, and you're really not missing out on a lot. Inner peace hits the spot when you let your peaceful awareness wash over you. Most meditation and mindfulness practices, like I said, every morning when I get up, I use the Grateful 8, because there's always something to be grateful for in life. Eyes to see, ears to hear, feet to walk, food, roof over my head, and putting a smile on my face. It changes my energy, and it just helps me to practice awareness. But I also, practice Qigong, movement exercises. I look at positive visualizations, positive affirmations. We had a positive affirmation at the beginning of the show, so practice saying that every day, because that also helps you stay in the present moment, but it also starts to develop a deeper awareness to your life, your consciousness, and the world around you. Practices help you return to the wisdom that you have a body, but you are not your body. You have thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. You can't search for awareness. It just is. It does come from within. So stop striving and just let it be. And that's what we say in spirituality all the time. And so it is. Know thyself, and all will be revealed. Awareness is powerful and full of many possibilities. I hope that you will start to prospect. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but once you start to ask the whys of awareness, you're going to start to get the who's, the whens, the hows. All of it starts to unfold in amazing ways. And again, it really is full of many, many possibilities. Awareness is the mother of all choices and empowerment. Bottom line, awareness is transformative. And I'm going to just leave us, we didn't get a chance to get to the meditation. Maybe we'll do that another show. Again, just kind of rolling with it with Mercury retrograde, having some fun on awareness. But I want to leave you with Aristotle quote that the ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. And that was Aristotle that talked about, the power of awareness. And I hope that you'll start to use awareness in living presently in your life. Self-awareness brings, patience. It brings humility. It brings responsibility. It brings joy. It brings unity, resolution, peace, and Kim, your favorite word, most importantly, it brings love. Self-betrayal, or the ego body, and not having awareness, brings things like pride. It brings things like judgment or blame, anger, division, dissolution, hatred, war. We see a lot of that around us in current society with the loudness of life. So I hope that you'll disconnect, so you have time to reconnect, and that you'll start to embrace awareness and start to awaken into the amazing, powerful being that you are, the beautiful, loving person that you are, and the change that you can make out in the world. But if you want to make that change, the change starts with you. So as Gandhi talked about, be the change you want to see. And that, Kim, that's all I got for awareness right now, because we're about out of time.
Well, you covered a lot, Mark.
I did.
You did, and you covered so many great points about the importance of awareness and also the importance of action. And I just want to add to that because, sometimes we don't always have the strength or the courage within us to take action on the awareness that we do have. And so in cases like that, you can also follow it up with prayer to your guidance, to your higher self, to the divine, ask for help and support to take action in the places that may require it for your own happiness. So, that's the only one thing I'd add to that. Sometimes we need a little extra support around that. And we, whenever we ask, you have free will with that too. We don't have to ask for help, but when we do, it's, that's the one constant in life. You'll get it.
Yeah.
So,
and the prayer,
so
Kim,
anyway, so yeah.
the
so with
prayer
that,
is listening, is talking to God, but again, meditation is listening back. So incorporate a meditation practice in there as well.
There you go. And don't forget to join us next week on Wisdom Wednesdays. We're going to be talking to Wendy Williams and past life regression, one of my favorite topics.
Interesting.
All right. Until then, have a beautiful week. And as Mark says, namaste.
Namaste.